Next time you're standing at a train platform or watching a train roar past a crossing, glance down. Under those huge steel rails and thick wooden beams, you'll always find the same thing: stones. Countless ones. Rough, gray, chunky stones going on for thousands of miles. It doesn't matter if you're in India, the UK, or the United States. The stones are always there. But if you ever pause to wonder why do we place our most modern high-speed trains on top of a loose pile of rocks? Why don't we just attach the tracks to a solid concrete base? The answer isn't just about saving money. It's a brilliant piece of engineering that protects the train from sinking into the earth. And it hides a surprising history that connects modern railways to ancient sailing ships. Welcome to CuriOddity. Today, we're uncovering the secret of the railway stones. To understand the stones, we first have to understand the problem. A fully loaded train is insanely heavy. We're talking about millions of pounds of steel and freight. If you dropped that much weight straight onto dirt, the extreme force would squeeze the soil, the rails would sink, and the train would eventually crash off the tracks. This is where the stones, officially called track ballast, come in. Think of the track as a layer cake. You've got the steel rails on top. They rest on those flat beams, which we call sleepers or ties, and the sleepers rest on the ballast. The ballast's job is to act as a cushion. It grabs the huge focused weight of the train and spreads it out over a larger space. It scatters the pressure so the dirt underneath doesn't get squashed. But here is the fascinating part. The tracks aren't actually attached to the ground. If you look carefully, you'll see the tracks are sitting on top of the stones. They aren't drilled into the earth far below. They depend on friction and the pure weight of the ballast to hold their position. This flexibility lets the track slightly soak up the shaking of a speeding train instead of breaking under the stress. Now, you might be thinking, okay, stones hold up the weight, but why these particular stones? If you were to grab a piece of track ballast, you'd realize something right away. It hurts your hand. These stones are sharp, rough, and ugly. You'll never find smooth, rounded pebbles on a railway track. And there's a very specific engineering reason for that. Picture stepping into a pit of ball bearings or polished marbles. You'd slip all over the place, right? Smooth stones roll against each other. If a train moved over smooth, round rocks, the stones would scatter away under the shaking and the track would slip apart. Engineers use crushed rock, usually granite or quartzite, that's been broken into sharp, uneven shapes. When these jagged stones get packed together, they don't roll, they lock together. Their sharp corners grip each other, forming a solid, stable mass that still gives a tiny bit of flex. They anchor the track in position, stopping it from sliding left to right. Even when a high-speed train rockets around a bend, the stones don't just bear the weight, they fight the railway's two biggest enemies, water and weeds. If we put tracks on a solid concrete floor or just plain dirt, heavy rainfall would create serious trouble. Dirt becomes mud, which washes away, leaving the track hanging. Concrete makes puddles, which can corrode the steel rails. But a layer of stones is completely porous. It's like a giant drain. When it rains, the water flows right through the spaces between the stones and away from the track, keeping the ground dry and firm. And then there are the weeds. You hardly ever see plants growing wild in the middle of a train track. That's because this deep layer of sharp rocks makes it super hard for plants to grow roots. If plants were allowed to sprout, their roots would tear up the soil and destroy that stable base we need. So the stones work as a weight holder, a drainage system, and a weed blocker all in one. Before we finish, here's one last surprising detail. Why do we call them ballast? That word actually comes from the ocean. Hundreds of years ago, when empty wooden ships sailed off to collect cargo, they were too light to sail safely. They would bounce around in the water. To add weight, sailors would load the ship's bottom with heavy stones. This weight was called ballast. When the ships reached port to pick up their goods, they'd toss these stones onto the waterfront. Early railway engineers searching for cheap, heavy stuff to steady their new tracks spotted these piles of dumped ship stones and thought, perfect. They borrowed the ship's ballast for the train tracks, and the name stuck. So the next time you see those jagged gray stones, you'll know they aren't just rocks. They're a self-draining, weed-fighting, weight-bearing engineering marvel that has kept the world moving for years. This is CuriOddity. If you enjoyed this journey, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories hidden in plain sight. Thanks for watching.